Anyway, this is me again. It's not, you know, I've been putting Justin in front of the camera. We figured it all out, and he's doing most of the work, really, but we figured it out together. And this is no easy task, redoing a car. It's just so hard when pieces are missing, but you don't know what the piece is. And then, I don't know. Anyway, that's what we're doing. We're getting there, though. So this is part 3 of the column, and unfortunately we put most of it together, but the problem was the cam gear. I think I touched on that in an earlier video, but the cam gear is under, let's see, you gotta pull this off, right?
Correct.
You gotta pull this off. So to get this off, you gotta undo this. If you go back to my other videos, you gotta undo like 3 or 4 screws inside.
3 in and 3 more.
3 inside, 3 outside. This comes out. The wires you have to come up. This comes out with that. This you have to unscrew. So then you get the, here's the spring that I was missing.
That we found in the seat.
Yeah, we found in the seat when we were building the seats. That ain't gonna work. You're gonna end up breaking this.
Yeah.
Anyway, the key now bounces back. If I put it in there, let's see, where's the key?
What is it up here? No.
Okay, so it was a combination of the cam. When you to explain this, and again, I didn't have time to videotape it, but behind this is a cam. When you turn this, the cam turns, right?
Yeah, we've got an example. So this is the original one that we replaced.
It's all rounded out in the middle.
Yeah, so basically where your key's at, there's a rod that goes through here, and this is supposed to be like a rectangle slot with a spring that goes over it to latch to the hook and then go into here. So when you go all the way forward with it, it's supposed to spring back, but ours wasn't.
Because?
Because it's worn out in here, number one, and number two is just sitting outside with no.
So we also cleaned the ignition switch, which is down there. Well, I can't. Let me just walk around it. So when you turn the switch, I think I went over this before. There's like, I can't see it now.
The rod? It's underneath. Here.
Just leave it. There's a rod underneath.
Right here.
The spring is in here that really pushes the spring in here is what pushes that back. Watch the rod move. He's gonna turn the key. Let go. Let's let go of the key. So see, the spring inside here is the spring is here. So when you're turning it, you're actually compressing the spring, and then it pushes it back. So anyway, it was a combination. We took this apart, we cleaned it up, lubed it, the cam, and then just the missing parts. So you can buy a cam if you got this problem. But what I found out is in 76 and a half, they changed the cam gear. I don't know where the other one is, but
The black one's in there.
so if you look at this cam compared to this cam, I mean, it's really hard to tell. First glance, they look the same. But these you see this flat slot here and this flat slot here? That is kind of like, well, basically the cam, when you turn the key, it pushes these gears, but if it can't land in one of these spots, we kind of past this now, but you can't get the key out. If you got a, for instance, this one has
One extra tooth on the.
it has one extra tooth, but the real thing is, see that little spot right there compared to this one. If you don't have a slot that big for this year, you can't get the key out. So if you got a problem with your key not returning, that's what we do. So anyway, now going back to here, I talked about the 3 screws behind there, the 3 screws behind there. Here's the spring, he lubed it up. And then, and then we came to find out that the nut, it was also missing a nut, the steering wheel nut. So it turns out, on this one here, which is a 19, I think it's an 80, has a metric nut. This one has a standard nut. So if you get run into that problem, just go to the hardware store and ask for a, what did I just say these were called? I forgot already. I forgot. But anyway, they sell them at Ace Hardware. They're thinner.
Jam nut.
Jam nut. A jam nut is thinner than a regular nut. So, I guess I can show some of this going together. Just kind of slip those pieces on there.
So next would be the
So what is that piece?
That's the horn contact.
Horn contact. Does it go on any particular way?
No, not really. Basically, this contact creates the contact around this ring, which hits here. So when you hit the horn, it hits here, hits there, there. And it also kind of keeps the spring in line. And then next would be this guy. Now this guy goes in a particular way. You got one of these teeth are missing, and if you look at the shaft, it's going to have one smooth one where it's kind of started, but it's not really grooved out like the rest. So I guess it does have to go in a particular way because this has to go through that, like so. But you got all that play room. But you just want to line up that groove, that flat spot. And you'll know when you're on it, because it springs like it should.
Okay, so I'm not going to videotape this whole thing, but so what we'll go, so then we have to use the tool I made in the other video, right?
Yeah.
What that does is it compresses that spring. That spring is really putting a load on the bearings. So that goes on, and then, so where are we again?
So
that
would go on. And then our lock ring.
So then he's going to compress it.
Compress it to get the lock ring on.
So once this is compressed by tightening a nut around here, right?
Yeah, we'll actually use the jam nut.
Okay, we use the jam nut, and once that's tight enough,
Which that'll be sitting there. That way I can just slip it into place.
that'll slide right into place. That'll lock the basically it'll lock the spring.
It'll lock this to the rear with the spring and the horn contact.
And then after that, what?
And then after that, we go to the collar and the horn mechanism. And then that's when the actual nut and lock ring goes on. Nut in this ring here.
So the nut. So then once we get it tight, we take the nut off that we're using to compress it. Slip this on. The lock ring goes first.
No, it goes on top of the nut.
The nut
So
goes
the
on first, and the lock ring goes on top. Then this,
Well, actually, the horn goes in, then the nut, then the lock ring.
it goes like this.
Correct.
And then after that,
Steering wheel.
the steering wheel.
And then the actual horn contact.
And then that. Now, by the way, I don't know if I'm going to show this again later, but you notice the emblem's missing on this. So let's see, I'm looking at this. Hey, grab one of those emblems over there. There's one open.
This one, right?
Yeah, now take it out. I want you to slip it in, see if it fits in those holes. So this is a new emblem, there was no emblem, there was no cap. See those holes in there? Does it actually fit into those holes?
No, it's way too big. Is this the right one?
Flip it over. There's a piece missing.
Oh no, there's that. But this round piece is way too big. I think this goes somewhere else. Yeah, because it's...
He grabbed the wrong one.
Yeah, I did.
Or something, or something's wrong.
That's another one.
Where is that?
These two are identical. That's clip.
I just looked at this the other day.
That's identical to that.
Okay, these are for the window. He grabbed the wrong. I guess I don't have them here. Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is make sure you that this when the aluminum goes on, you want your steering wheel clocked.
Here's one. An old one.
Where?
One knob on it.
So when you put your steering wheel on, you want to make sure that
The bird's straight.
that when this goes in to the slot in the end of the steering column, you need to have your tires straight, aligned, if all that makes sense, so that the again, we're doing this on the fly. It's hard to talk and make a good video. But I guess you get my point. And the same with putting the steering wheel on. I can't put the steering wheel on until I, well, I don't know about that. We're not sure about that yet. Okay, and just to end this video, maybe I'll end it here. So if you got a steering column problem and you need the right gear, this is the one. It says it's 69 and up, but that's the number. You can probably find it somewhere else, but I don't know where. That's the number that Year One uses, and I had to pay $25 plus shipping. Yeah, there's more to add on. So when we put if you watch the other video, we took the ring off with this. You have to go back to the locking ring, but we couldn't tighten it with that. We couldn't get this on to tighten it, so we cut it shorter. Then got it on, then put a spacer, then tighten it down with a nut. You can put as many spacers as you want. Again, if you run into this problem, you'll know what I'm talking about. That's how we solved it. This is just to show that we did get the steering wheel back together. We got all the pieces, it works, everything works. I just don't have that center piece. And we're just throwing it upstairs until we get the dash figured out. Basically, almost everything up here I don't need anymore. This is all extra. Out of all that basket case stuff, I'm just about there.